Senator, it's a big day today in your former chamber with the House GOP conference taking up a couple of big issues, whether or not Liz Cheney should be removed from her position as the GOP conference chair and whether Marjorie Taylor Greene should be disciplined for espousing some of the views that she has. The Wall Street Journal writing today, quote, if the House GOP punishes Ms. Cheney while saying nothing about Ms. Greene, it will deserve a longer time in the wilderness. Now, I know that it might be a matter you think is better left for the House to deal with, but it does raise significant issues for the Republican Party as to what will the perception and what will the future of the party be.
Well, John, as you said, that is my former chamber, and I know how frustrated it would make me when senators would weigh in on things that we were doing or debating over in the House chamber. So I'm going to leave the actions of the day to the House leadership. I know they're working through this. When it comes to the GOP, let me say this. For 4 years, I've been saying we should change GOP from standing for Grand Old Party. Those of us in Tennessee think there's nothing cool about grand and old except the Grand Ole Opry. And we should become the Great Opportunity Party. We should put the focus on individuals being able to achieve their version of the American dream, them having equal opportunity across the board. I think that we need to think about what GOP stands for.
I appreciate, Senator, your desire to leave this to the House, but the minority leader did say Liz Cheney is a leader with deep convictions and the courage to act on them. She's an important leader in our party and in our nation. I'm grateful for her service and look forward to continuing to work with her on the crucial issues facing our nation. How do you feel about Liz Cheney?
I am going to leave all of these issues of the day to the House leadership, John. I think that's appropriate.
Including a personal view of Liz Cheney?
I think we're going to leave everything to the House, to the members of the House caucus, and I'm going to leave that there.
When it comes to Senator to Marjorie Taylor Greene, Karl Rove says she says she's a problem for our party and that our party needs to deal with this. What are your thoughts?
I'm going to leave all of this about the House to the House.
You don't have a stand either way?
You know, Sandra, I'm going to let them deal with the issues that are in front of them today. We're going to leave all of this to the House leadership.
If I could follow up, you're a sitting U.S. Senator. You should probably have a thought on it.
Sandra, I'm going to leave all of this to the House. I know they're working through this.
The fact that it's even a conversation that Republicans are more inclined to punish Liz Cheney than to acknowledge the comments of Marjorie Taylor Greene tells you everything you need to know about the modern GOP. Commit the crime of acknowledging the objective reality that Trump incited an insurrection at the Capitol, you'll be banished from the party. But acknowledge that Marjorie Taylor Greene's comments calling for the execution of the Speaker of the House and suggesting that a school shooting that left 14 children dead was a false flag and that Jews are responsible for forest fires might be bad? Well, we couldn't possibly impose our beliefs on another member. She should have the freedom to express herself in any way that she'd like. Funny how that works out, huh? Marsha Blackburn even tries to take the opportunity when asked about Marjorie Taylor Greene to deflect to a brainstorming session about some new branding for the GOP. Why? Because she is just that scared to have even a shred of a backbone. And so instead, a United States Senator would rather continually refuse to voice her opinion on an elected official who called for a colleague to be assassinated than admit the obvious and condemn her. Talk about a profile in courage. The fact is that this should be a softball for Republicans. If this lawmaker is a lunatic and you have even the mildest desire to not look like a party of lunatics, then it doesn't take a team of consultants to know that you should probably move to limit that person's influence. Stripping her of her committee assignments is a simple, bare minimum step. And yet the fact that Republicans couldn't even manage to do that is all the proof you need that they're embracing her. They are making the conscious, willful decision that they're aligning themselves with a woman who thinks that a secret cabal of Satan-worshipping pedophiles is running the government. She might be the only Republican who's declared her allegiance to QAnon outright, but the rest of the GOP just showed that they're right there with her. And that cowardice comes right from the top. Republican Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy finally released a long-awaited statement after meeting with Marjorie Taylor Greene, where he offered some tepid criticism, stating that he condemns QAnon and he made that clear to her, claiming that she recognized this. He said, quote, "I hold her to her word as well as her actions going forward." In other words, he opted to take zero action. But then he continued, saying, quote, "I understand that Marjorie's comments have caused deep wounds to many, and as a result, I offered Majority Leader Hoyer a path to lower the temperature temperature and address these concerns. Instead of coming together to do that, the Democrats are choosing to raise the temperature by taking the unprecedented step to further their partisan power grab regarding the committee assignments of the other party. While Democrats pursue a resolution on Congresswoman Greene, they continue to do nothing about Democrats serving on the Foreign Affairs Committee who've spread anti-Semitic tropes. Democrats on the House Intelligence and Homeland Security Committees compromised by Chinese spies, or the chairwoman of the House Financial Services Committee who advocated for violence against public servants. The guy literally found a way to turn Marjorie Taylor Greene advocating for the execution of Nancy Pelosi into a condemnation of Democrats. Right. Democrats are raising the temperature by trying to hold Greene accountable. By that logic, you could murder someone, but the cops would be at fault for arresting them because, hey, you wouldn't want to raise the temperature. Apparently, according to the GOP, the offenders have carte blanche to do whatever they want, and it's those who try to hold them to account who are truly to blame. Yeah, no, that makes total sense. The simple fact is that Republicans chose a side. They can try to frame it as staying out of the fray or leaving it to the House, as Marsha Blackburn says, but you don't get to have it both ways here. You don't get to pretend that you don't support someone who's an avowed member of a dangerous digital cult while also refusing to condemn that person at the same time. I get that it's uncomfortable to have to choose one way or the other, but as an elected official in the Republican Party, the inconvenient truth is that a decision is needed one way or the other. And in pretending not to have an opinion, she might as well have just endorsed Marjorie Taylor Greene's re-election. And look, let's just be honest here. Is it really that hard to condemn this person?
High-level officials will soon be arrested, and hopefully that's what we're seeing from all those sealed federal indictments. And it will be a type of corruption. Now, what type of corruption would it be? I mean, is it going to be the stuff that's rumored? The things that people don't want to talk about, the things that people don't want to think about? I mean, is it going to be true that the child pedophilia in the elites in the Washington, D.C., is that what we're really going to see come out? Is it true, is the type of corruption we're going to see come out, is it going to be satanic worship that possibly all these people are involved in? I mean, we already saw there was an email came out of the WikiLeaks emails where Cheryl Moles, and she told Hillary Clinton in an email that she was going to sacrifice a chicken to Moloch in her backyard. Who says that kind of stuff? Like, nobody says that. But that was proof right there that there's possible satanic worship, and maybe that all these scary things that people talk about on what's considered conspiracy sites and conspiracy theories really may be true. But that's what Q has been telling everyone.
So if you can't find it in yourself as an elected official, a member of the United States Senate, to disavow this woman, then the rot in the GOP is clearly not limited to just Marjorie Taylor Greene. So they can continue to try and have it both ways, but at the end of the day, the Republican Party has made its positions known. They won't lift a finger to condemn Marjorie Taylor Greene, meaning that they embrace the QAnon lunacy, the claims that Parkland was a false flag, the calls for Nancy Pelosi and other Democrats to be executed, the anti-Semitism, the lies, all of it. They have picked their side and made their bed. Now it's time to lie in it. While you're here, please check out my podcast, No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen. I take a deep dive into the top stories of the week, and I also interview major players in the world of politics, like Kamala Harris, Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi, Pete Buttigieg, Katie Porter, Al Franken, Cory Booker, Jamie Harrison, Mary Trump, and many more. Again, that's No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, available anywhere you listen to podcasts.